Hello there. How was your 白色情人节? Did you get lots of loves and kisses and presents? Well, you know there's one group of people who didn't get no loves or kisses at all. TikTok. Word on the street is they're about to get banned. Well, kinda, sorta. You see, just recently, the US House of Representatives voted to pass a bill that would put TikTok between a very big rock and a very hard place. Their demands, TikTok, sell your shit or we will ban your shit. At this time, both political parties are in agreement, with almost all the Republicans and 87% of the Democrats. 很刚好. Clearly, a lot has changed over the past few years as the Democrats have changed their tune. And Taiwan news has been all over this reporting nonstop. America is going gang, yo. They're gonna ban China's TikTok. Word, because if you've learned anything about American politics, then you know that not everything is as it seems. So if you ask me, they ain't banning nobody. Today, I'm gonna give you 3 reasons as to exactly why they ain't gonna ban nobody, and I'm also gonna give you 2 reasons as to why they're doing this right now. Reason number 1, Donald J. Trump. Now to understand this part, you first need to know that the American court system is divided into state courts and federal court. And federal court has 3 tiers. You have district court, you have circuit court, ultimately you have Supreme Court. And this system is where people and companies can sue the federal government over legislation and bills that they think are unfair, thus keeping the government in check. All right, back to Trump. So back in 2020, when he was still president, Trump issued an executive order telling ByteDance and Tencent of Weixin that, hey, I got a message for you. Sell your shit or we will ban your shit. Sound familiar?
I've heard that before.
So after he did this, ByteDance went directly to the federal courts and sued his ass. And they won. Trump's executive order was blocked. How did they do this? They went to the judge and filed a preliminary injunction, which pretty much asked the judge to shut that down. And he did. Why? Because after reviewing what Team Trump had, he decided that they did not have sufficient evidence to prove and show that TikTok was an immediate and extraordinary threat to national security. Thus, he instituted the preliminary injunction, partially. So this gave Team Trump a chance to appeal and come back later. But unfortunately, this all went down in September. And just 2 months later, Team Trump lost the election.
Fuck.
So then, this case became titled from Team Trump versus TikTok to now Team Biden versus TikTok. And Team Biden, upon assuming office, immediately rescinded the executive order and abandoned the case altogether. And that brings us to reason number 2, the House. You see, where Trump issued an executive order, the House actually tried to pass legislation. But don't get it twisted. It ain't no law yet. It still has to go through the Senate. And according to reports, the Senate is already looking at this bill sideways. Now, a while back, Joe Biden said that he would sign the bill if it landed on his desk. That's a big if. You see, whenever a bill goes from the House to the Senate then has to sit and they have to debate and discuss on the terms. And if there's anything they don't agree with, they then have to go back to the House and discuss and debate and renegotiate. This whole process can take anywhere from 10 days to 215 days, dude. I don't know about you, but I have very little faith in the US bureaucratic system. But who knows? I could be wrong, but I guess we'll have to wait anywhere from next week till the middle of summer before we find out. The third reason, evidence. So like I mentioned before, America has a federal court system. So even if it passes the Senate and it lands on Joe Biden's desk and he signs the bill into law, ByteDance still has 165 days to file an injunction to fight it. And as far as I know, the American public has yet to see any evidence that clearly proves that TikTok is an immediate threat to national security. So we might be looking at the exact same thing as 4 years ago. If TikTok were to win again, that would put the scoreboard at TikTok 2 and America 0. So now you've heard my theory of why the ban won't go through. But that still leaves the question, why are they doing this? And why doing this now? Well, I've been following several news stories at the same time, and I have a theory. Today's 好机车 theory is brought to you by the word grandstanding, which means to make a whole lot of noise and act like you're bringing attention to an issue, but really you're trying to bring attention to yourself. American politicians tend to do this a lot, especially around election year.
It's true.
But in the end, they don't expect anything to happen. 这个就是一个秀而已呀, all to get them votes. So now you're slowly beginning to understand the motives behind the Democratic Party. Because just a few years ago, they were all about TikTok and freedom of speech and let people express themselves. So what happened? Two things. Just last week, Donald Trump was officially named the frontrunner for the Republican Party in this year's presidential election. Oh, and what's the other thing? Oh, you remember that Fani Willis hearing that we were talking about a while back? Well, that's still ongoing, but the judge in that case, just a few days ago, dropped 6 of Trump's criminal cases, awarding Trump a small victory. So that means that Team Biden's countless attempts to tie Trump up in court with endless legal battles is slowly unraveling, resulting in Trump gaining more momentum.
It's true.
Oh, and did I mention that just a few years ago, the majority of Democrats actually opposed a ban on TikTok, but then just last week, Biden says, if there's a ban on TikTok that lands on my desk, I'll sign it.
If they pass it, I'll sign it.
And now the majority of Democrats are rallying behind national security and the protection of it? 傻小. Way I see it, 他们都在装啊. They want to show that, hey, we are tough on China, and we love America, we want to keep America safe. Word? When it comes to convincing the American people, is this the best you can do?
This is not an attempt to ban TikTok. It's an attempt to make TikTok better. Tic-tac-toe, a winner.
你认真的吗? You want to use a kid's game to try to convince the American people that you want to keep us safe?
You're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
And then there are the American voting proportions. 67% of all TikTok users fall within Gen Z, ages 18 to 29. And coincidentally, in the exact same demographic group, 61% of them voted Democratic, where only 31% of them voted Republican. So based on this information, I think we can agree that when it comes to TikTok, this is a platform for the young left. So that leaves a question. Why try to ban a platform that props up your voter base? Because it's virtually impossible. Think about it. You want to try and tell 150 million people that they can't use an app that they love so much anymore?
What?
But there is one thing. It's no secret that the majority of Republicans have a very hard stance against China. However, 1/3 of Republicans are currently opposed to Trump. So, in theory, if Trump can become the hard and tough on China guy, then he stands a chance to maybe win over their vote. And keep in mind, back in 2020, there was only a 1% margin of difference between Trump and Biden within the swing states. And Gen Z Democrats probably won't put Biden on the hook for the TikTok ban unless it actually becomes a reality. So for me, this is all a show. Pure grandstanding just to get them votes.
You're goddamn right.
Well, there you have it. From grandstanding to flip-flopping to outright fear-mongering. This is my take on why the majority of Democratic legislators have suddenly got on the hate TikTok and hate China train. Let's be real for a second. We all know just how effective TikTok is in shaping public opinion. Even right now, they are aggressively campaigning and trying to convince all of their users to keep TikTok and vote against the ban.
I encourage you to keep sharing your stories. Share them with your friends. Share them with your family. Share them with your senators. Protect your constitutional rights. Make your voices heard.
So, if the government is smart, they should be gathering up all the evidence they can to support their national security threat claims. Shit, we all know that this app uses your geolocation, so maybe if they can prove that they're using this geolocation with their military personnel on submarines or warships, that will compromise their position, then they might have a case. Maybe, but I don't think they're gonna try that hard because to me, it's all grandstanding gay bi bullshit. But that's just me. I could be wrong. What do you guys think? Leave a comment down below. Remember to like, subscribe, and I will see you on the flip side. Peace!